Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission meeting for Monday, November the 15th, 2010. Could we have the roll call?
Commissioners Bennett,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Rotfogel,
Yes, here.
Markey, President Khan.
Yes.
The agenda for the November 15th, 2010 meeting was posted on the bulletin board outside City Hall on Tuesday, November 9th, 2010. Item 2, introductions and presentations. 2A, presentation by Community Services and Parks Senior Services section regarding services provided to seniors during the holiday season.
And this is mine. I wanted to ask staff to come up and talk about some of the programs that we have available for seniors during the holidays. And they're significant in that we have meals programs and things like that that are very important to seniors. I'd like to call up Maggie Kaverian, who's the Acting Community Services Supervisor, and Seva Garabedian, who is the Community Services Coordinator. They'll take a piece of this presentation.
Good afternoon, President Khan, Commissioners, and staff. I'm Maggie Kaverian, Acting Community Services Supervisor for the Elderly Nutritional Meals Program and the Integrated Care Management Program. Today, my colleague Seva Garabedian and I are going to be presenting holiday happenings for seniors in the Glendale community, as well as for their adult children who could refer mom or dad to our programs and events. There we go. Here we have our agenda for today. It's basically we're going to go down this list and discuss a lot of these programs. Not working? Okay, here we go. So we want to start with some facts, and we have some AARP facts. Basically, the risk of depression is very high for the elderly community, especially this time of the year. And also, 4 out of 10 seniors over 60 are going to experience poverty. That's 40%. 78 million baby boomers will turn 65 in 2011. That's over 31 boomers that are going to experience poverty. And to address those, we wanted to look at our programs. Our Congregate Meals program has 3 sites. Our brand new adult recreation center at the Central Park Complex that offers meals 7 days a week. We are only one of a handful of centers in the LA County area that offer meals 7 days a week to seniors, as well as Spar Heights and Pacific Community Center. The Congregate Meals program serves 160 meals per day at our 3 sites, and during this holiday season, the number grows from 165 to 185 per day. Also, there are 400 unduplicated seniors participating in Congregate Meals this year, and 44,000 hot meals are served every year, and they're continually growing. Next, we have our Home Delivered Meals program. For our homebound seniors, the Home Delivered Meals program provides a nutritious meal that's delivered to seniors in the home, with a weekly well-being phone call, a registered dietitian that goes to the home for a visit, and a care manager who oversees their progress and maintenance. This program will serve 1,200 meals to homebound seniors every month, and there are over 120 unduplicated homebound seniors in the Home Delivered Meals program every year, with over 14,000 meals being delivered to these frail clients this year alone. Our Caring Caller program is for seniors that are especially lonely this time of the year. It's a wonderful way to get seniors engaged. It's a program where seniors can either volunteer or to call up here or be a recipient of a weekly phone call. Lasting relationships are formed through these weekly conversations. Our Thanksgiving food drive is underway, and this year the generous City of Glendale employees have opened their hearts and their pantries and are continuing to bring in non-perishable food items for needy homebound seniors. Our senior advocate group, the Greater Glendale Council on Aging, will assist our staff this Wednesday by donating 60 eco-friendly keepsake totes and sorting and bagging hundreds of donated gifts. This is the 5th year of collaboration with us. We also work with the LA Food Bank distribution sites. There are 2 of them that we refer our seniors to. That's the Salvation Army and Interfaith Refugee Immigration Services. Currently, this is where seniors can go once a month to pick up food staples. We look forward to actually becoming a food distribution site in the next fiscal year when enrollment opens. And lastly, I want to talk about Santa to a Senior program. Each year for the past 5 years, the Senior Services Program has been collaborating with Home Instead Senior Care. They are kind enough to coordinate the Santa to a Senior program and add 30 of our most needy seniors to that list. At shopping malls in and around Glendale, you will see tags with the first names of a senior that you can purchase an item for. All purchased items are then gift wrapped and picked up by city staff and delivered to our seniors just in time for Christmas. And just so on a note, we ask seniors, what do you want for Christmas? And they ask for the most practical things. Shirt, a sweater, a robe, sweat socks, anything that's just practical, even gift cards, so they can give to others as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Seva Garabinian to tell you about our holiday events. Thank you.
Good afternoon, President Khan, Commissioners, and staff. My name is Seva Garabedian, Community Services Coordinator at the Adult Recreation Center, responsible for senior programs and events. Coming up for Thanksgiving, we have a couple of activities. As you could see, ARC is going to be having a craft on November 16, where seniors are going to be making a recipe card and a refrigerator magnet they could take home and decorate in their homes. On November 17, Henry Samuels will be entertaining our seniors at ARC with his harmonica and orchestral tracks. And on November 18, Spar Heights and Adult Recreation Center will be having their Thanksgiving celebration, where seniors will be enjoying a turkey lunch with stuffing and all the traditional trimmings. On Friday, November 19, ARC will be hosting a Pilgrim Hat Social, which basically involves engaging our seniors, using marshmallows and chocolate, and having them make pilgrim hats with graham crackers. And not only does it engage them, it promotes dexterity as well. For Christmas, we have a couple of more activities. Starting with November 23, next Tuesday, we have 37 seniors currently enrolled in an excursion that's going to Walks Resorts Theater in Escondido, where they're going to watch It's a Wonderful Life. On December 1st and December 3, Spar Heights and ARC will have their tree lighting ceremony. We'll fill the center with holiday songs and, create some ambience and get everybody into the mood. Spar Heights will be having a holiday movie on December 14, and then on December 15, during their regular monthly bingo, they'll be having holiday-themed prizes. On December 16, ARC will have a Jingle Bell workshop where seniors will be able to make their own ornaments so they could decorate. And then also on the same day, on the 16th, the Senior Mixer will be having holiday snacks and treats. All this is followed up by our Christmas luncheon, which is on December 23, where 275 people, 150 at ARC and 125 at SPAR, will be participating in the lunch program. The luncheon features a quartet of carolers who will come table by table and sing for the seniors some holiday songs. Santa will drop by with his helpers to pass out some gifts and take pictures with the participants. And then finally, for the holiday season, is our New Year's countdown party, both at SPAR and at ARC. There will be 130 participants at ARC and 80 participants at SPAR, where they'll toast the New Year with some sparkling cider, hats, kazoos, tiaras, and of course, the countdown will take place at 12 noon instead of 12 midnight, and with a balloon drop. And that basically concludes our presentation. If anybody has any questions, we'll be more than happy to answer them, or they could give us a call at 818-548-3775, and we'll be more than happy to say how you could enroll or participate in these programs. Thank you.
Did you guys have questions?
Well, just that it seems like this year you're doing a lot more. Is that because the ARC is open, or are we just expanding our services, or I just wasn't paying attention last year?
No, it's pretty much the same. The only major difference is the tree lighting ceremony at ARC, and we're seeing a lot more people come to ARC because of the new building. A lot more people are interested. So people who would normally walk by are actually coming in now. So we're trying to engage these people, and so you got to have different programs that appeal to them. So this is one way to get everybody involved somehow.
Great. Maybe all of you.
I had a question about the meals, and you'd given us a number in terms of, obviously it's growing and growing. Is there is there an income restriction as it relates to getting meals served? That's first one. And then the second one, go ahead and answer that one.
There is no income restriction. We ask for a $2.50 donation per meal, and no senior is ever turned away.
That's great.
You're not old enough.
No, it's okay. I'm thinking more of you. The second thing I was trying to figure out, though, is as it relates to, you said it's growing. We're at 14,000 meals?
Right. For home delivered meals, it's 14,000. For congregate meals, it's 44,000 that are served.
Is it breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
It is just dinner. It is just lunch.
It's just lunch. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you guys very much for coming today.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Item 2B1, presentations by social service agencies, Neighborhood Legal Services of Los Angeles County.
Again, this is our ongoing effort to highlight nonprofit or social service agencies, and Alina is here from Neighborhood Legal Services.
Good afternoon, President Kahn, Commissioners, and staff. First of all, thank you so much for letting us be here today to tell you a little bit about some of the programs we're really trying to highlight in the community. My name is Alina Azizian. I am the Dikran Tabrizian Fellow at Neighborhood Legal Services and a staff attorney. As a part of my fellowship, I focus on doing outreach in the Armenian community as well as the Glendale community, because there is such an overlap and because this is where our administrative office is. Just to tell you a little bit about NLS, we are a nonprofit regional law firm, and we provide legal services to low-income individuals. We've been around since 1965, and we are funded by the Legal Services Corporation. Along with we get county grants, private funding as well. But LSC means that there are certain restrictions placed upon us. This is our service area. We have offices in Pacoima, El Monte, and Glendale. We also operate out of several courthouses in the county where we provide pro per assistance. And we have something called the Medical Legal Partnership, where we have a staff person at a community clinic where they work with doctors to help identify some of the legal issues. A lot of times, when someone comes in and they have, for example, asthma, there could be a mold problem in the house, or if they come in with an injury, it could be work-related, things like that. So we try to work with the doctors to flag those issues and help people. The idea is sort of holistic service. Types of services we provide a lot of counsel and advice through our hotline. People call a 1-800 number, they describe their legal problem, and we are able to provide a lot of information over the phone and really walk them through the process. We also provide brief services and full attorney representation, court hearings, things like that. And in pro per assistance, this is what we do at our self-help centers at the courthouses. Basically, people come in and we have volunteers and attorneys who sit down with them and help them go through the process themselves. And, at first glance, it might seem like it's not enough, but really what we're doing is empowering people to learn to navigate the system and really gain that independence. In order to be a client, you must be low income and have legal status such as citizenship, legal permanent resident, or some sort of a visa application process. We also assist people who are married or related to citizens or legal permanent residents and asylees and refugees. That's for our client eligibility. In the courthouses, generally anybody who walks in can get assistance. These are the areas of law we cover: immigration, housing, healthcare, government benefits, employment, family law. We do a bit of consumer law as well. And again, this is just sort of our specific units. We do a lot of work that are, these larger, more collaborative projects like the Medical Legal Partnership. We have bankruptcy clinics. We have a foreclosure project as well, assisting people. So today we kind of want to talk to you about this project we're working on. We call it the Economic Recovery Initiative. As we all know, we are not doing so well in the economy. $19 billion state budget shortfall, drastic cuts for social services, and the Glendale unemployment rate, this isn't current, I believe this is July, was at 11.3%. There are 4 fully funded federal programs that are commonly under-accessed by low-income people. Supplemental Security Income, food stamps, which is now called CalFresh, which up until recently was called the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, SNAP, unemployment insurance benefits, and earned income tax credit. So Social Security income, supplemental security income, that's incorrect. Many homeless and mentally and physically disabled people are eligible for supplemental security income. Supplemental security income is available to people who are unable to engage in any sort of substantial gainful employment or activity. Anyone over the age of 65 and people who are disabled are eligible. People who are not getting this, a lot of homeless people do have some disabilities that are preventing them from working, and instead of getting SSI, they're getting general relief from the county, and that's $221 a month. I don't know how many of us can pay rent, $221 a month. If they get on SSI, they get up to $845 and Medi-Cal coverage. And SSI benefits can help folks move out of poverty and out of homelessness. Moving 4,000 people from GR to SSI would save Los Angeles County $50 million a year. We are paying from county funds for general relief, and if these people get supplemental security income, it saves our county money and it helps get them off the streets and into housing. So what are some of the barriers? In order to get SSI, you need to have the medical evidence to document your disability. So one of the problems is sort of gathering all this information. When you're homeless, when you're mentally ill, it's really difficult to follow up with all your appointments, keep track of all your documents, and just follow through with the process. Some of the solutions, of course, are training doctors on how to fill these forms out. They don't always fill them out very completely, so people have to go back for additional visits. And of course, the county can help provide. If the county helped get people through this process, it's saving them money in the long run. San Francisco County has a program right now where their county is helping do this, and they've had a 90% approval rate of getting GR people onto SSI. And of course, getting attorneys to assist with the SSI application is key as well. Food stamp enrollment. We think this is, one of the sort of simplest processes to get people on and get food. One of the things to note about the food stamp program is it's not a welfare benefit. It's a nutritional assistance program. 48% of eligible Californians are, 48% of people who should be getting food stamps are. That means 52% are not getting it. In LA County, that's 40%. So 60% are not getting food stamps and are eligible for it. Here's the fact that really, I think, affects all of us. Every $1 of food stamps generates up to $1.84 in local economic activity. When people get the food stamp money, they're going to their local market. You're generating a lot of economic activity, you're helping increase jobs, and that benefits everyone. If all those who are eligible for food stamps were enrolled, it would generate $2.4 billion in economic activity for Los Angeles County. And then over to the side, I just, food stamps, average amount of food stamps that people are eligible for. What are the barriers? People don't know that they're eligible for food stamps. They don't know about the program. Some people don't know where to apply. And then, of course, there's a public charge immigration concern for people who want to become legal permanent residents. Public charge is they evaluate whether or not you will be a public charge moving forward, and people think that this will hurt them in the immigration process, but it's not a welfare benefit. It's a nutritional assistance program, so it is not going to affect them. Of course, the fourth thing is stigma. A lot of people are embarrassed. They don't want to be at the market pulling out those food stamps, and what people don't know is that we don't use food stamps anymore. It's an EBT card. It looks just like a debit card. You swipe it at the counter just as anyone else would. Nobody has to know. It's not anything that anybody needs to be ashamed of, and it's to help provide food for people. Some of the solutions, of course, working with DPSS to do outreach and co-location, where DPSS can bring in a van and actually sign people up on the spot. increasing food stamp screening, increasing farmers markets' use of EBT. Farmers markets, several of them currently do accept EBT cards, so if we could just increase that. And then increase use of workable electronic application systems. So an interesting fact, our Sun Valley Medical Legal Partnership, we started screening there for food stamps, and we were able to get 75 families averaging $320 a month, generating about $500,000 in economic activity. Unemployment insurance benefits for people who have left their most recent work through no fault of their own. It's, right now we're seeing a lot of appeals on both sides, which is sort of holding up the process. There's language barriers, there's a lot of delays. If you know anybody who's tried to call EDD recently, sometimes you don't even get to wait on hold because there's so many people on hold, they just kick you off the system. So it's not even a matter of having the patients, it's a matter of trying to get through to them. So some of the solutions there, we're working on a pro bono program at NLS to get more attorneys to help with the appeals process, broader consumer education on employment rights, and advocating for UIB time extensions. Some of the extensions that were available are going to be expiring soon. Oh, and on the previous slide, there was a little blurb. NLS has a workers' rights clinic out of our Glendale office the first and third Tuesday of the month, where we do help people with their UI we help them through the process where they run into problems. And then lastly, I want to talk about the Earned Income Tax Credit, which is a tax benefit for working people with low to moderate incomes. A married couple with one child can get up to $3,043. The problem with this is that you do need to file your tax return, and a lot of very low-income people just assume that they don't need to, or there's no point in doing it, so they don't file. You can't get the Earned Income Tax Credit unless you file. You look on the right side, $370 million were lost in LA County, $370 million that people could have received back. 256,449 households that could have received Earned Income Tax Credit did not, again, because they did not file. So NLS has a tax clinic as well during tax season. We help provide more than $250,000 in tax refunds. And this year we are changing to an electronic system, the ICANN system, for filing electronically, so we're helping to assist a lot more people than we've assisted in the past. So I think that's it. I didn't have a slide with our phone number up there, but if anybody needs any assistance or has any questions, of course, they are free to call us at 1-800-433-6251. And, that's for any of our services. It's the same number, but we can definitely help direct them, help them through the process. Thank you.
Questions? Where are your offices at in Glendale, you mentioned?
Adams and Chevy Chase.
It's in Chevy Chase.
Yes, right by that library.
By the park.
And, well, yeah, close to the park as well.
The library.
Thanks. Go ahead.
I'm sorry? On
You work with Verdugo Job Center to put on presentations there on some of the things you just talked about?
We have worked with them in the past, and we do have a close relationship with them. They do refer a lot of people to us when they have employment-related problems. They provide a lot of great services, too, so.
Great. Well, thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you for having me. Oh.
Chairman Khan,
I'm sorry.
if I may, I just want to mention that the CDBG program, and now our department, has had a very long-standing relationship and partnership with Neighborhood Legal Services. I think this community is very fortunate that a couple of years ago they made an organizational decision to locate to Glendale. They occupy the Adams Square building. They bought that building about 3 or 4 years ago. They received a CDBG grant to rehab it, and they received an additional CDBG grant in partnership with the library division to complete tenant improvements to create the Adams Square Library. So they're very much a part of the city infrastructure, and we're very fortunate that they're in our community. We do partner with NLS on a lot of our outreach programs, including employment programs. I think this effort where they are trying to get the word out so that more residents are aware of the benefits that they may be eligible, that they aren't taking advantage of, is something that's relatively recent. But we very much intend to begin to outreach together. And one of my recommendations is that they make a presentation to all of the nonprofit organizations in a workshop or in a workshop, so that all of the case managers working in all of the agencies throughout the community are aware of these opportunities, and together we begin to link up more people that are eligible to receive those.
Okay. Are they part of your, you know how you meet monthly with all the nonprofits? Are they part of that meeting?
They're part of the Glendale Homeless Coalition, yes. They're part of the Glendale Homeless Coalition. Mm-hmm. They're on our CDBG mailing list. We're working with them right now on an $81,000 capital improvement project for some parking lot improvements and some parking lot lighting.
Right.
And I think Alina's going to give us some numbers for Glendale, the number of people in Glendale that could qualify for the, not the food stamp program, but the...
Yeah. I'm looking into getting those numbers. A lot of the statistics I gave were county specific, and we're trying to find out how many people in Glendale are actually eligible for food stamps that aren't on food stamps. I mean, generally throughout the state, I believe it's somewhere between 40 to 60% of people who are eligible are not receiving. So I expect Glendale to actually be very similar. We don't have those specific numbers today, but I'm going to try to get those, and I'll get them to you.
What I'd like to do is spearhead kind of a campaign to get people to sign up.
Sure.
Two benefits. One is it can help them with the nutrition needs of the families, and then two is the economic stimulus piece of it. If for every dollar it brings in $1.84 to the city, I think it could be tremendous for the city. So once we get those numbers, we can fashion a response and an outreach effort with Neighborhood Legal Services to get more people signed up.
Great.
Yeah.
I also think it's a good idea you use that debit card now.
Oh.
I think that's smart. That
That's
makes a lot of
wonderful.
sense.
Yeah, it really helps expedite things too. You know, at the checkout debit
Sure.
card, you just swipe it and you go, or EBT card.
Do you help seniors with wills and things like that also?
We don't do wills, no. Yeah, and I did want to say what Mr. Duran said is correct. This is a sort of a newer focus that we have. I mean, food stamps have always been there, and it's always been an issue, but recently there's been a lot of focus on it just nationwide about the number of people who are eligible for food stamps and who aren't getting it. So, you know, part of our goal is to work with the nonprofits and organizations and the city, and I really appreciate that the city has been so open to having us come and present here and at other meetings, but hopefully get these, you know, other organizations and agencies to help reach out to the people, because, you know, one organization doing it alone can only do so much or reach out to so many people. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity to speak and the partnership that we've had. So
Anybody else? Thank you very much.
thank you.
Item 2B2, the Salvation Army Glendale.
Chairman Khan, we have the Salvation Army here today. Needless to say, Salvation Army is also another valuable partner of the CDBG program, the homeless programs, and now the Community Services and Parks Department. Again, we've had a very long-standing relationship. Without the partnership, neither of us could effectively address the needs of our community and the huge demands that we have for Salvation Army services. So, take it away.
Thank you, Jess. President Kahn and Commissioners, my name is Rick White. I am the Director of Social Services at the Salvation Army in Glendale. I want to thank you for the opportunity this afternoon to tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do. I want to start by apologizing for my boss, Captain Rio Ray. He was unable to attend this afternoon to make this presentation. This is the busiest 6 weeks in the life of the Salvation Army. Sure. We do them. A lot of our services are given out this time. A lot of our fundraising is done. A lot of our donations come in. And so, again, he apologizes for being unable to attend. Captain Rio and I laugh because we call the Salvation Army the the best-kept secret in the city of Glendale. We've been serving the city here since 1925. I make lots of presentations to lots of different groups, and I always ask, do you know what the Salvation Army does? The answer is you help people. So that's right. Who do we help, and what kind of help do we give them? And mostly I'm met with blank stares. Everybody knows that we are a helping organization. And this afternoon, I'd like to take just a few moments to outline our programs, and then I'll talk about what we're doing for Christmas and how the community can get on board and be part of what we're doing. We, too, well, I'll go back a step. The Salvation Army has a worldwide mission of helping the people in the margins. For more than 100 years, the Salvation Army has been helping those who are falling through the cracks. In this economic time and in this place, the city of Glendale, we've been trying to carry on that tradition. We have a small Meals on Wheels program, slightly smaller than what the city does through the ARC. We are delivering about 1,000 hot meals a month, so that would put us a little bit lower than what the city is doing. I don't see bringing food to seniors as the most important part of what we do. Most of the seniors that we see are locked in their house all day. They see no one. My driver is the only person that they see. So what do we bring? Besides a hot lunch, we bring hope, we bring a friendly smile, and we're a safety check. We check the health and well-being of these seniors, and I am constantly making phone calls to people across the Southland and even as far as the East Coast, letting them know your mom's doing okay, your dad's feeling good. We have youth programming. We have two that are probably our highlights. One is called the Safe Place program. Safe Place is a youth safety and education and also crisis intervention program. In some ways, it's similar to a runaway hotline. We make presentations in the local schools. We give an 800 number where a teen can call if they're having a problem at home. It can be something as simple as, I'm trying to quit smoking, or my girlfriend broke up with me and I don't know what to do, to we've gotten phone calls from the police department saying, we found this teenager sleeping behind the Ralphs. Can you help find a place for him to spend the night? There are sites across the city of Glendale. You'll see a yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. It's a great local program. We also have the Zone. Our Zone is our after-school program. That's the one that Jess alluded to with CDBG funding that we get for it. In the Zone, we help low to moderate income kids who are falling behind. I love this program because it's one of the only ones we have where we're doing preventative medicine. We are trying to catch the kids early, help them with their schoolwork, keep them from falling behind so they won't become on welfare, so they will be gainfully employed, so they don't join gangs, so they don't have drug problems. We give homework help. It's by invitation only. The parents either have to request that the students come in or the school will recommend them to us. We have strong parent participation, which not only helps us with discipline on site, but if any of you work in the education fields, you know the key to success is parent participation. So we make that a key part of what we do. We charge a nominal fee to all the families that come, and yet some of them can't even afford the $10 a month that we're asking to be part of our program. Without the funds that we get through CDBG, we would not be able to continue this program and help these kids build for their future. Our social service pantry feeds groceries to people. Eligibility for almost all of our programs is simple. If you're low income and you live in the city of Glendale, we will try to help you. Our food pantry, so far this year, we've served more than 10,000 people with groceries. More than 85% of that food that we've given away has been donated to us by local service organizations. It's our partnership with the people of the city of Glendale that allow us to serve. I can't highlight them all, but I want to mention a couple. The Glendale Rotary Clubs in September parked out in front of a Ralph's and asked people to give food to the Salvation Army food pantry for the day. The Glendale Kiwanis Club donates 8,000 pounds each of beans and rice to us every year. The Glendale Unified School District, PTA, made us the recipient of their annual food drive. And the Boy Scouts in their Scouting for Food will be bringing us food this Saturday. We appreciate each and every can of corn that comes into us, whether you bring us 1 or 1 million. We appreciate it just as much. We have 2 housing programs that we provide home and help and hope for homeless families. One is called the Nancy Painter House. That's a transitional housing program for homeless women and their children. The other, we just opened almost a year now, Chester Village. That's longer-term housing for homeless families with children where at least one of the adults is disabled due to substance abuse. We provide on-site case management, life skills classes. Our goal is simple there, too. We're trying to give these women the skills, the training, and the education they need to be self-reliant. We're hoping that they're not just going to pass through us and onto another program, but that when they leave our programs, they will be self-sufficient. We have partnered with the City of Glendale and HUD to keep those programs going. We appreciate city staff and all the help and support they give us, because we're good with people. We're not as good with program. And so the staff gives us a great deal of support to be able to keep doing what we can over there. Like all agencies, like all nonprofits in this economic time, we are trying to help more people with fewer resources. The number I gave you for our food pantry is 200% higher than it was 2 years ago. And I don't expect it to end this holiday season. We have more than 200 families so far signed up for help with Christmas presents and toys. If anyone is watching on TV at home and you want to be a part of what we do, you can give us a call, and we would love to hook you up with a family that needs help this time at Christmas. Food donations are always welcome. We are also well known for our red kettles and our bell ringing. You will see us around town starting Friday. Any group of people that want to adopt a bell site for the day, we would appreciate that tremendously. Volunteer bell ringers bring in about 3 times more money than the ones that we pay. Largely because they have friends that go by and they can embarrass their friends into giving us money. We don't care where it comes from, we just appreciate it. Lastly, we are offering Thanksgiving dinner on Thanksgiving Day to the community. We are serving it at our Windsor Road location from 12 to 2. I have more than enough volunteers, but if anybody is watching and they have nowhere to go on Thanksgiving Day, please join us. It's a widely mixed group of people. It's a lot of fun, and we will appreciate your company. I did not bring a slideshow. I do not have my phone number to put on the screen. But if you have questions about anything or you want to volunteer, it's 818-246-5586. You can ask for Rick White. If I can't help you, I will point you in the right direction. The Salvation Army will continue to bring hope and a better tomorrow to people through the partnerships we've developed here in the city. I want to thank you again for the opportunity to speak with you all this afternoon, and would entertain any questions you might have.
Well, first of all, you did a much better job than I'm sure the captain would have done. And I will tell him that personally on Friday morning when I see him. Would you tell us what's going on Friday morning at the Salvation Army?
I think I'd like to explain your comments, Steve. Steve is one of our board members. Everybody felt pretty uncomfortable except me. Friday morning is the kickoff to our bell ringing season. We call it the Kettle Kickoff Breakfast. Our goal is to bring in $25,000 to kickstart our fundraising season. Salvation Army runs our fiscal year from October to September 30th. In last fiscal year, we were as close to even as you could possibly come without going into the red. It's a great blessing, and we were thankful that we weren't in a deficit, but it was cut too close. At our core, 320 West Windsor, 7 o'clock Friday morning, we're having our kettle kickoff breakfast. Tickets are still available for $20 a ticket. Please come. The breakfast will be outstanding. The entertainment will make you laugh. There'll be music, and again, we would appreciate anyone who wants to come, and we'll make you feel welcome and glad that you came.
And if anybody up here would like tickets, I will run to my car and I will get you tickets, and I will serve you breakfast as a board member.
Yes.
No hands.
Great.
Any other questions?
Thank you very much for coming
thank
out
you.
today.
Great job. Thank you, Rick.
Thanks, Steve.
Item 2C, introduction of Manuel Valenzuela, Planning Assistant.
Thank you, Chairman Khan, members of the commission. I'm happy to introduce you to our newest employee to our department. Manny, would you like to get up and take a bow? I'd like to introduce Manny Valenzuela. Manny, we were able to recruit from the city's planning department or community planning department, where Manny served as a planning intern for about 3 years. Moises and I talked to him about an opportunity in our CDBG unit where we needed some help to prepare the city's 5-year fair housing plan, which is a HUD requirement. And it's a major planning document of probably 200 or 300 pages, and we simply did not have the staff time to prepare that document. So we talked to Manny about coming over and helping us with that. It requires a lot of coordination with other public agencies and community organizations to prepare that, and a lot of research and a lot of writing. And we think Manny's skills match what our needs are to prepare that planning document. In addition to that, he will be working half-time with the housing division and working on some housing projects and some research projects for them. Manny will also work on some feasibility analysis that we need for a couple of potential capital improvement projects for the department. So we're very thrilled to have Manny on board. Manny does have a BA degree from UC Irvine, and he's currently working on a master's degree in public administration at CSUN. And so he's very qualified, and we're very lucky to have Manny join our department. That's Manny.
Welcome. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
The next new staff member I'd like to introduce is Nune Sogomanian, who, again, we were able to charm over to the CDBG section from the Youth and Family Services unit of the department, where Nune had been working for the city for about 7 years in a variety of different programs or with a variety of different populations, including youth on youth programs, seniors, and most recently the therapeutic programs for the department. And again, recognizing Nune's skill set and a need that we had in the CDBG homeless prevention section, we again tampered with the system, and we talked to Nune and convinced her to join the CDBG and homeless unit, where she is a caseworker, a caseworker assistant helping us with our homeless prevention program, and providing intake and screening and eligibility determination for low-income families that are victims of the economy, that have lost jobs and can no longer pay their rent. Nune will help us determine their eligibility, which is a lot easier said than done. And we require a lot of documentation, a lot of hand-holding, a lot of customer service skills, and again, Nune fits that bill, and she's doing a terrific job. She's been in her new job since September, and she's already had a significant impact, so we're very happy to bring her on board as well. Nune, would you like to stand and take a bow?
Welcome to you as well.
And if
Good to
Jess
have you
keeps this
both.
up, the other division heads are going to kill him for me. You just briefly just met Manny recently, and I think he's wonderful. Nune's worked with us for a number of years, and she is just absolutely fantastic.
I'll second that.
Of course they want to work here. We're the best department.
That's
aren't
right.
Yeah, she's great.
Well, welcome. Thank you. What's next?
Item 3, commission staff comments.
The only thing I have is last Saturday I had the pleasure of going to the Rose the tournament house at for the Rose Float and represent the department and the commission with the official picture of our float for this year. And it is really a fun event, and you really should do it at least once. And when you go, be sure to take the tour of the house. It's an amazing house full of some really fabulous history, and it was a lot of fun.
At our last commission meeting, Onig was here inviting us to some of the holiday events, and I went to Pacific Edison expecting a bunch of little kids. You know, I walked in, about 800 kids, not only in creative costumes, and the noise level, the fun. Anna couldn't sell tickets fast enough, and Norma was dressed as spaghetti and meatballs, but it was a great event. The other thing I did was I went up to Deukmejian on Saturday. The trail is incredible. What a beautiful job so far. And I met so many people along the way who were very, very excited that not only is the park open, but there's a trail part to go. So
I have some items. On December 15th, we are going to hold our winter staff kind of meeting, and like to invite the commissioners there for lunch if you have time. It's going to be at the Pacific Community Center, and we'll get the invitation also out to the CDBG Advisory Committee members. And we'll have to figure out a way of doing this without violating the Brown Act. But we'd like to invite you for lunch and meet some of the staff, because I think it's really important for you to meet staff that is in the department. A couple of things. Last month, Mark Sturdivant came to you and talked about our grants portfolio. And you may have seen in the paper, we did receive a $1.7 million grant, thanks to Mark and Dave and some of the other folks who worked on that grant. I did want to announce that. There's also another grant that we're competing for, which is $2.8 million for the Deukmejian Barn. But I want to ask Mark to come up and talk about both of those, give us a little bit more detail, and let him brag a little bit about the $1.7 million.
Well, thank you. President Kahn, members of the Commission, I'm Mark Sturdivant, Senior Analyst for the Community Services and Parks Department. Obviously, we're very excited about this grant that's going to allow us to build Maryland Avenue Park. And while I was responsible for putting the words down on paper that allowed us to get the grant, I would be remiss if I didn't thank a number of people who provided the insight and the background and the inspiration that allowed me to find those words. And so I just want to let you know that it wasn't one person who did it. It was a team, as it always is. And the first of those is my boss, George Chapchian. And I want you to know that George unfailingly creates a great atmosphere in which to do good work, and it's a real pleasure for me to be part of his team. Second is the gentleman to your left, my right, Dave Ahern, who is the head of our Parks Design and Development section. Dave, along with Peter Verheilig, who is the current manager of the Maryland project, were enormously helpful in this effort. This grant was extremely focused. It really emphasized new parks in park-poor areas, in economically disadvantaged portions of the community. But more important to that, it required an unprecedented amount of community outreach. Normally, we hold 2 or 3 community meetings where we go out to the community, we listen to the community, we then come back and say, this is what we've heard, this is what we think you said you wanted in our parks. 2 or 3 of those is what we normally do. In this instance, we did 15 community outreach and focus group meetings, and it was really Dave and Peter who were the ones that made this happen. No matter how many meetings we did, if I came up to them and said, you know, I've been thinking about this, and I think we ought to go talk to the seniors at the ARC, or if I said, you know, I think maybe we should talk to the Auto Dealers Association. Whatever it was, they were always right there. They went and got the easels, they picked up the display boards, they picked up the handouts, they loaded up the car, and off we went. So I just want to let you know that that kind of support really paid off in this grant application. They are really what we sometimes refer to in the Parks Department as steely-eyed parksmen. And finally, a big part of the community outreach involved the parents and the students at Roosevelt Middle School and Horace Mann Elementary School. Both schools are less than a half mile from the project site, and I just wanted to acknowledge the participation of Principal Lynn Marceau and Assistant Principal Narek Kasabian at Roosevelt, and at Horace Mann, the Principal Rosa Alonso and Assistant Principal Linda Teams, both of whom were really instrumental in providing us with an opportunity to meet with parents, to meet with students, and bring on board the ideas of the community for this park. The other item that George mentioned that I just wanted to touch on before I go is that we have one more big grant application ahead of us. This one is also from Proposition 84. It's the Nature Education Facilities Grant Program. Our application is for $2.8 million, and if we get that award, it will allow us to complete the work at the Le Mesnager barn and turn it into a nature center, a home for our park naturalists, and the centerpiece of our trails and open space programs. It's another highly competitive grant. George didn't mention this last one. They had almost 500 applications, and they awarded 62 of them. So we felt very fortunate to have been awarded that grant. In this instance, they have 307 applications statewide asking for over $1 billion worth of funding for nature education centers, such as the need for that in this state. And we were told that they expected to award 1 out of every 11 applications. So it's going to be highly competitive, but we had the first of 2 site visits today from California State Parks, the folks that administer this program. They came out to the park. I think George and Dave will attest that we had a very good visit. The park, this was a perfect day for it. The park was spectacularly beautiful. There's construction going on inside the barn right now, which is very interesting to watch. Our guest from State Parks asked a lot of questions and took a lot of notes, and I think came away favorably impressed. So we have our fingers crossed, and we will keep you posted on that one as we get more information. And with that, if there are any questions about either the Maryland Avenue Park Grant or the Nature Education Facilities Grant, I'd be happy to try to answer those.
Yeah,
Great.
congratulations to
Thank you.
everyone.
Yeah.
Great
You
job.
said the last time it was highly competitive, and we made it, so.
Yes, we did. So as I say,
Here's
we've got
hoping.
our fingers crossed. The site visit today I thought went quite well, and the park sells itself. And the barn is spectacular. So
Yes.
we think the park and the barn, even without us going out there and providing the other information, they kind of tell their own story. So
Although Mark doesn't do himself justice, I mean, he is a good writer, a very good writer, and to the point. But also, he prepared well for today's meeting with Parks. Everything was scripted. We went through an entire agenda and didn't miss anything.
I think we got it all.
We covered every point.
Yes.
And hopefully they were impressed. It will be an impressive project if we get the $2.8 million. But
Indeed.
You were well prepared. I think you and Jeff well prepared to do it.
How does it work from a timeline perspective? Like, let's say that today went well, then they'd come back for a final visit?
there is a second visit 2 weeks from today on the 29th. 2 other members of the staff from the State Parks Office of Grants and Local Services will be coming out. Then they will be going back and putting their heads together, reviewing all of the applications, and coming up with the final awards. That we anticipate that the awards will be announced either in late February or early March.
When will Maryland project start?
The Maryland project, I'm going to turn to Dave Ahern for an update on when the Maryland project will begin.
Sure. President Kahn, members of the commission, we're in design.
Yeah.
Wrote it down.
Yeah.
We're still in the design process. We just a month ago or 6 weeks ago approved the contract with the architect to move forward with construction documents. So we're just finishing the design development stage, which is our second stage in design. We'll then go into construction documents probably the end of November, into plan check in probably February, then out to bid and start construction April, May next year.
How long would it take, Dave, once you start construction?
We'll start construction in April or May. We'll be done by December. perhaps sooner. End of next year.
And the beauty of this grant is also we had set aside $1.5 million, Jess, didn't we, from CDBG to use for this park in case this grant didn't come in. So that frees up some money to do other things with. So it really is a kind of win for all of us.
Sure. And it's an area of the city that's underserved significantly. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Mark, on the Nature Center, have we kind of positioned that as something that, even though it's a City of Glendale project, that it will be regional?
Yes, absolutely. One of the things the application asks us about is what makes this project unique. Why will people come to it from places beyond Glendale? And we've fashioned this in a way that we think makes it really different from a lot of the other applications that the state has received. We're emphasizing what happened in the park last year at this time. This is the focus of the Nature Education Center will be fire recovery and what it means to live on the urban wildland interface. So we'll be looking at those kinds of things, the kind of the recycling of history, the fire and floods of 1934, the fire in 1975, followed by the floods of 1978, the fire and floods we had in this past year. We're going to be looking at a lot of nature elements, but the overarching theme will be fire recovery and the hydrology, the floods, the debris flow, and that kind of thing.
And then it'd be open to children from all schools
It's
in the area?
absolutely open to anyone without charge, and we think first and foremost the fact that it's going to emphasize the station fire will be of interest to all those communities that live along the front range of the San Gabriels, particularly Sunland Tahunga, La Crescenta, Northern Glendale, La Cañada, Flint Ridge, Pasadena.
Great.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Did you have more, George, or was that?
No, I think the only thing that I can add, and we underscored this with the state grant person, is that we do have funding for staff and programming. And so if they were to give us the money, we have 3 naturalists on board who can start right away as soon as we open the doors. So, and maybe that's unique to other communities. Maybe other communities don't have that to go with. So hopefully that'll also put us over the top.
Now, that's a big deal. I know that from, like, when you hear about, well, a perfect example is the DMV building. They redid this beautiful building, and they don't have staff. They can't put staff in it. So I think that's an important thing too.
And that was our point. You won't waste your money if you invested with us here in Glendale.
Good. Okay, what is next?
Item 4, oral communications.
I have one card from Colin Bogart.
Bogart.
President Kahn, Commission members, city staff, good afternoon. My name is Colin Bogart, and I work for the Los Angeles County Bicycle Coalition. I'm the LACBC's liaison to the City of Glendale, working with the City of Glendale on the Safe and Healthy Streets project, which you may have heard of in the past. I've been here a while back. I do have one slide to show to you, as well as viewers watching on TV or online. The main focus of the Safe and Healthy Streets project is a policy document, a set of policy recommendations that seek to encourage and support walking and bicycling in the city of Glendale, and thereby also encouraging better public health in our community. Which is why it's funded by the LA County Department of Public Health. I've been working with Mr. Sturdivant, as well as a number of other city staff members in the Planning Department, the Public Works Department, and Police Department to draft a initial version of this Safe and Healthy Streets plan, which we have now made available for the community to review. We've already had 2 public community meetings that we held at the end of October. One was at the Central Library and the other was at Spar Heights Community Center. But we are still seeking additional input from the community. Specifically, we're looking for comments on the Safe and Healthy Streets, the draft version, by the end of this month, November 30th, 2010. And I wanted to let people know and let you know that they could download the plan at the Safe and Healthy Streets website, which is la-bike.org/Glendale. When they go to the website, they'll see on the right side of the page there is a link for Safe and Healthy Streets Plan. They can click on that and then download a PDF document. And people can send their comments via email to me. The address is colin@la-bike.org. Or if websites and email isn't their forte, they can certainly give me a call. The number is 818-334-9731. To tell you just very briefly, the document is broken up into 5 primary sections. There's a section on education, encouragement, enforcement, engineering, and evaluation. And then there's also some additional chapters having to do with implementation, such as funding sources and staffing resources and action plan. And we're seeking comments on all of those sections. However, we encourage people, it's a large document, if they would like to focus on one specific section, say the encouragement section, which deals largely with public events that we are encouraging to be held to get people out walking and biking. If people feel particularly strongly about that section, then they can review that section and submit segments on just that section alone. We don't necessarily demand that people give us feedback on the entire plan, which, as I said, is quite large. Once again, the web address is la-bike.org/Glendale. They can email me at Colin, COLIN, @la-bike.org, or call 818-334-9731. Our goal is to continue to collect input until the end of the month. Then we're going to work on revisions of the draft plan through December, and it's our desire to then come back to your commission and other city commissions after the first of the year to get your feedback and your comments as well. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
I don't think we do. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
What's next?
Item 5, consent items. 5A, approval of the minutes of the Commission regular meeting held on October 18, 2010.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
A second?
Commissioners Bennett,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Rottfogel,
Yes.
Sharkey,
Yes.
President Kahn.
Yes.
Item 6, business agenda. 6A, action items. 6A1, cancellation of the December 20th, 2010 Commission meeting. At A, motion to cancel the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission meeting of December 20th, 2010.
And
Is there any discussion?
No, I move to go dark in December.
That sounds good.
Second.
Commissioners Bennett,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Rottfogel,
Yes.
Sharkey,
Yes.
President Kahn.
Yes.
Item 6A2, rescheduling of the January and February 2011 Commission meetings. At A, motion directing staff regarding the rescheduling of the January and February 2011 Commission regular meetings.
And this was a little bit more difficult, I think. We meet the third Monday of every month, and 2 of those Mondays, which are January 17 and February 21st, lie on a holiday. One is Martin Luther King, and the other is President's Day. So I asked Iris to look at the other available times for this room and for GTV6 to televise it. And she's listed 3 days, both in January, and 3 dates in February for your consideration, and whatever works for you. We will gladly get out the minutes and the agenda for those meetings.
Does anybody have a preference?
Not necessarily a preference, and this may sway you either way, but in January, Monday the 10th and Wednesday the 26th, I will be out of town on both those dates. So you may want to choose one of those dates. You may not, I'm not sure.
How about, are you here February?
February, I don't anticipate any conflicts.
Okay. Anybody else? You guys okay with those dates?
Okay.
Okay. So whether we want Steve here or not in January, if we did option 2,
Take a private vote.
We'll take a private vote.
yes, exactly. Steve, can you leave the room, please? And unless there's an objection, why don't we go with Thursday, January 13th,
Okay.
so we can have a full commission, if that's okay? And then in February, is there a preference from anybody?
Well, that's Valentine's Day in the middle one there, if anybody has any big plans.
And Steve definitely won't be here.
Yes.
No, I'll use the commission meeting as my excuse for not being able to do anything.
Caught on tape.
You want to keep it where it's Thursday and Thursday, so it's just consistent?
I like that.
Okay. So then for February, it'd be option 1, Thursday, February 10th. So January's option 2, January 13th, February's option 1. Yeah, I just lost my train of thought. February 10th. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll move 6A2A with option 2 in January and option 1 in February.
Second.
Commissioners Bennett,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Ralph Fogel,
Yes?
Sharkey,
Yes.
President Khan.
Yes.
Item 6A3, formation of an art advisory committee for the Maple Park Public Art Project. A, motion appointing a Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commissioner to the Art Advisory Committee for the Maple Park Public Art Project.
Rifsimi Marashian, who is our Arts and Culture staff person, will present this item.
Sure.
President Khan, Commissioners, my name is Rifsimi Marashian, and I'm the Cultural Affairs Coordinator. I'm here to talk to you about the Maple Park Public Art Project. More specifically, we will talk about the formation of the Art Advisory Committee, who will be conducting the reviewing and selecting the artists for this project. We just have a small correction. In the report, it says that the RFQ has been issued, but a week ago we were hoping that it will be already issued. We just, however, we have small details to look over. But the Community Services and Parks Department has created this unique opportunity for artists to participate in our city's public art project. And the project is open for all artists who live in Southern California and work in any medium. The budget for this project is $25,000, and it includes installation, delivery, fabrications, artist fee, administration, all inclusive. The project is going to be not exceed $25,000. The deadline for artists to submit their portfolios, the submissions, is December 14th. And now the most important part of this project, and in any public art project, is the selection process, where you where you review and find the most qualified artist and choose the best artist for the project. That's where the advisory committee comes, and this committee will be consisting of commissioners, one commissioner from the Parks and Recreations Commission, one from the Arts and Culture Commission. We will have 3 staff people in the committee, and also 2 community members. Now, staff has estimated that the time for your commitment to go through the reviewing process will be approximately 6 to 7 hours, at least 6 to 7 hours. And we're estimating maybe 2 or 3 meetings for you to conduct with the artist. The first one will be reviewing the portfolios to see, to choose the semi-finalists for this project, and narrowing down artists, at least maybe 4 or 5 artists, to invite them to the site, to visit the site, and create site-specific sketches, proposals, and then the committee members will choose the most qualified artist for the project. At this time, I would like to ask the Commission to appoint one of its members to the Art Advisory Committee as an advisory member.
Okay, before we do that, did anybody have questions as to the presentation or the commitment or anything like that?
So we had some earlier discussion, but it's one piece of art that's going to be somehow attached to this project.
Well, at this time, there are several ideas. it's not only one space. There have been discussion about several spaces. Most probably, mainly it will be internal indoor art spaces, but it's very early for us to pinpoint a space for the artwork.
Yeah, I think what we'd like to do is leave it as open as possible.
okay,
Find the
good.
qualified and have them present to us,
Yeah, good.
what they think the art piece should be and have the committee select.
Sort of like what we did at the last park that was open. The park name is,
Cedar Heritage?
yeah, there was art at that park also.
Right, there is art at that park, yeah.
Mr. Ahern.
President Khan, as Mr. Chepchian said, we're leaving it open to the artist. Just so you have a better understanding of it, in Maple Park, we have an interior hallway that can be utilized for display of art. We also have a floor that could be used for an art tile project. There's also an opportunity to do some type of statues or other art. So there's lots of options in that building. One of the things we want to do there is have the art internal to the building where we can make sure it doesn't get vandalized. In addition to Maple, this is our first project, for me anyways, partnering with the art staff, but we are then also looking at a Sister Cities art component, probably for Pacific Park or the ARC, and we'll need to do an art component for ARC and Pacific Park. Maryland Mini Park has got an art component in it. So although we're asking today for someone for Maple Park, there'll be several opportunities to work on these if this isn't the one that you want to work on. And in each one, it'll be a little different. Maryland has 2 locations for art, and there we're thinking that history can be combined with art and make that the art element. But that's just our thought, and the committee may come up with a different perspective. The director has directed me to use either the Pacific Park Pool or the ARC for a Sister Cities art component, so it'll go in one of those. And we're going to look at leveraging these projects for art installations as well as just parks and recreation facilities.
And we do have a budget for it, so there's some money in the
Staff. Okay. Well, then let me ask my fellow commissioners for this exciting opportunity to work. I guess this would be just for the Maple Park Public Art Project. Is there anyone that feels this is their calling? They would like to volunteer themselves for this committee.
This is not my calling.
Okay.
I'd like to suggest, Ms.
I was
If no
going to
one
say
wants it,
Richard is
I'll
our...
be glad to take it.
Richard is our art.
I
Great.
think Richard is
I do too.
I think it's
the
unanimous.
right choice.
Okay.
Great.
Well, it sounds to me like we have secured our commissioner. Do we need to take a formal vote and
Yes,
a motion
please.
on this? Could we have a motion then?
A motion as Richard Bennett to be, what is it?
Art Commission.
Our art commissioner or
Representative.
representing our commission. There you go.
I'd gladly second that.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
But we have to vote on it.
Yeah.
Yes. Commissioners Bennett,
I probably have to abstain, but I'd say yes if I did.
Patrick,
I think you can vote for yourself. Yes.
Rob Fogel,
Enthusiastically, yes.
Sharkey,
Yes.
and President Khan.
Yes. Congratulations, Commissioner Bennett.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you very much. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Happy to.
Is that a lifetime appointment? Or?
It could be. It could grow into that.
Well, it's whose lifetime is what you...
Although I think that the pool project also could present an interesting art,
Sure.
component.
Yeah.
So that's going to be kind of neat.
Great. Okay. What's next?
Item 6B, reports for information only. 1, monthly activity reports. A, park services.
Harry?
Hello, President Khan, commissioners, and staff. I got about 3 things that I'd like to just mention briefly of what we've been working on the last 30, 45 days. Ball fields were front and center the last, the beginning of October, actually. We redid, renovated Dunsmore, Montrose Big and Small, Babe Herman, and Stengel Field. And Stengel Field got something a little unusual. My director would ask me to make it green for the wintertime. So we've decided to oversee the entire Stengel Field with winter rye. And we'll see how that works out next year. See if we can have a nice...
Miracles.
Pardon me?
I know you can work miracles.
Oh, yes.
Boss wanted the grass green.
Just do what I'm told. Another one was the shoal reforestation. I met with Public Works today, and we've got a kind of a schedule for the reforestation up at Shoal. Hopefully going to plant starting next week. Should take them 2 to 4 days to get all the planting done. We've already started the irrigation on all the existing trees. I'm hoping to have this entire project wrapped up by the end of the year. When we meet in January, I'll have a complete presentation of start to finish of what that looks like and how it started. And the last one is the holiday season is quickly approaching, unfortunately for some, fortunate for others. But we are responsible for doing all the decorations and lighting of Brand Boulevard. And a couple of my managers right now are repairing some of the toy soldiers, some of the reindeer, some of the other objects that we have out there, and the lights. We'll be working at midnight to 6 a.m. for the next couple of weeks after, starting next week probably, if not this week. And by either Thanksgiving weekend or the following Monday, which I believe is December, the week after that, December 1st, we'll have everything lit and all the artifacts and all the holiday decorations on Brand Boulevard all done. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. If not, thank you.
Any questions?
Always do a great job.
Thank you.
Just make sure you water the rye and it's no sweat.
Green grass, remember.
I'll do my best.
Item 6B1B, Recreation and Community Services.
President Khan and Commissioners, we have a very large report of event listings this month, and this was emailed to you. There's approximately 14 pages of all types of different events, everything from special activities to our regular classes that are occurring from December through January. We would like to suggest that we email this to you on a regular basis rather than print it, and being environmentally friendly, that may help eliminate some of the paperwork from your packets from month to month. So if that's acceptable to you, we'd like to do that. And then what we'd like to do is bring to you just a one-page summary of all the highlights of some of the items coming up, knowing that everybody can access our website. The leisure guide is available through the months at various counters throughout the city, and so all these activities that we regularly bring to you is readily available. And you can also connect with us on Twitter. So that's also available to the public. So there's various ways to access all these different classes and activities that are ongoing throughout the year. I would like to point out just a few that are coming up that are kind of fun and friendly for families. We have the annual tree lighting ceremony that's coming up at Perkins Plaza, which is Wednesday, December 1st. That's in the evening at 6 o'clock. And, of course, Santa Claus always makes a visit there. And there's hot chocolate and snacks for everyone. So it's the annual tree lighting in the plaza. Another event for teens. We have 3 teen equinoxes a year. This one's in collaboration with our friends from the Salvation Army. This will be a mic contest. It's a battle of the MCs. It's an open mic. Anyone who is a DJ type kind of guy can come and enter the contest, and this is well attended. There's usually 200 to 300 that are in attendance every year, and everybody looks forward to it. This is kind of a fun event for the teens. This will be on December 10th. And then we have December 11th. We have something new coming on board. We have the National AARP is sponsoring the Walgreens health screening tour, and a very, 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 very large Walgreens bus will be pulling up to the ARC December 11th. And it's a Saturday, and we'll have health screenings from 10 to 4 for all the public. Everyone is welcome to come. There's everything from cholesterol, bone mass, all types of screenings that are going to go on. And so that's a free event, and the public should take advantage of that because it's going to be very, very well attended, I'm sure. That's it.
Thank you very much.
6B1C, CIP projects.
President Kahn, members of the commission, I'm going to give you just a brief update on the barn construction. We've got a very brief PowerPoint. As you can see here, this is looking at the main entry of the barn just above the amphitheater, and probably for the first time in many years, you see the doors have been removed and the barn is open. So this is the first step in the seismic retrofit and eventual restoration of the barn. Let's see, is it a right click or which one moves it forward? Which one? There. I can't even see it. How about the keyboard? The right click, right? Or left? Okay. There's a loose nut behind the keyboard. We've got to work on that. So this is an interior view looking at the second level. You can see the different colored paints at the second level. That's lead-based paint, and that's got to be abated. That wasn't in the original scope of work, so that'll be a change. But you can see on either side, probably most visible to the left, some brickwork and a chimney, and that's where the red is. That indicates the second floor of the barn that was actually the residence when the Lemesnage family actually resided there. Next. You can see here some of the demolition work that's gone on, and again, looking through the openings. And these curved openings are on all four sides of the barn, so it really provides quite a bit of light once those have been opened up. These excavations are for the buttress system that is part of the seismic retrofit. So these holes are about 12 feet long, 5 to 6 feet wide, 5 to 6 feet deep. They get a rebar cage, rebar the size of broom handles goes in this, and then that cage goes up the side of the wall about 20 feet in 8 different locations. That's quite a bit of concrete and rebar and steel. It is the foundation of this seismic retrofit. So it climbs the wall, and then at about 20 feet high, there's a band that goes around the entire inside, and that's the first ring in this buttress retrofit system. Here I think you're seeing some more of the holes. And the two levels. This to the right is the lower level of the barn. So we'll have to put in an ADA accessible ramp that makes that area accessible and will be functional in the display systems that we hope to receive funding for. Here you're seeing the crews, and they're beginning to drill into the wall to attach the rebar that will attach to the cages going up the walls that seismically tie this building together. This is a great shot in that it shows you, when I talk about the ring, if you'll notice about midway up the wall, there's what appears to be a dark line, and that was really where the floor on the old building tied into the walls. So what the seismic system does is it follows that line all the way around the building, and then again at the roof level, it comes up from the floors, ties it all together, and acts as a diaphragm, and that's what holds the building together, with the roof acting much like a lid on a cardboard box. When the lid's not on the box, the walls are flexing. When you put the lid on, the walls of the box don't tend to move as much, and that's what gives it its it's kind of a simple analogy of how this thing then begins to act together as a diaphragm, and that's what we're trying to achieve with the retrofit. Do we have another slide? And here's a look out one of the arch doorways. And again, you're seeing some of the windows get filled in. Again, that's to provide for structural integrity to the system. So and this is looking from the lower level up into the back of the barn. And here's some of that steel cage system that I was telling you about, and you can barely see the cage going up the side of the wall, but certainly you can see the rebar in the hole, and they're placing concrete. So that work is done now. The cages are in place, as you can see. And the next step is to put in the bond beams at the second, and then roof level. And that will complete the retrofit. We'll be resheeting the roof and re-roofing it as the final piece of the seismic retrofit. If we receive the funding that Mark was talking about earlier in the grant application, that would fund the floor, the electrical, HVAC, handicap accessible bathrooms, and then all the tenant improvements that you would have for the nature center there. So in this phase, the only other piece that gets done is the fire alarm system gets put in, the sprinkler system gets put in, and utilities get stubbed out. And then we're out of money at about $1.5 million on this phase of this project. So we're hopeful. George, myself, and Mark, Jeff all met with the representative from the state parks today and gave them our best pitch on why this nature center is needed, why it's unique, why it's one that they should fund. They told us they have about $98 million in funds, and they have about $1 billion in requests. So they figure they'll fund 1 out of 11 projects, and they have several categories. So the category we're in, we're hopeful to be competitive. And the community programming and the work of the naturalists, and led, I think, largely by Jeff's programming, Jeff Weinstein's programming leadership there to create the tree planting and reforestation programs, campfire programs. Next weekend, if it doesn't rain, we'll be planting big cone spruce. So we'll be begin that reintroducing the big cone spruce to the Duke. As you know from earlier discussions, that whole area was vegetated with big cone spruce, and was logged out of there in the 1780s. As, of course, Los Angeles was a desert, there were no trees down here to speak of, and so that's where the lumber came from for all the construction. The trees up there now, some are native, some are non-native. Canary Island pines, a lot of them up there, obviously not a native tree. So bringing back the big cone to the Duke is one of the plans to restoring the history of the area, and also giving it some of the cachet that we want for our programming up there with the native plant work that we're doing up there. Our goal, working with the Parks Foundation to create a nursery for native plants there and do education on that. We're also working with the Parks Foundation on an idea to bring forward a trail run up at the Duke, and the Nature Center would be the heart of all of that. That would be the visitor center. That would be where the docents worked out of as we develop a docent program up there and leverage our resources. We know that we're not going to be hiring additional staff given our budget constraints, so we need to develop a volunteer program, a cadre of people, and in that area there certainly is one that love that park and want to make it available, make it safe, and make it the educational venue that we know it can be. After the station fire, that park is now undergoing a 5-year process of regrowth, and so it's really a 700-acre laboratory on fire ecology, and we need to take advantage of that while it's occurring and use that to educate kids, and again achieve our larger goal of building a better community through building parks and educating kids and developing a constituency for parks. So that's a bit about what we're doing in CIP. Of course, you know, we have several parks under construction. We've got a groundbreaking coming up for Pacific Park Pool. We just awarded that contract, and we've already started work. So that should be the next appointment on your dance card. So I'll available to answer any questions you may have, and I'll shut up.
Questions?
On the inside of the barn, how far out are the buttresses going to go up the wall?
Commissioner Rothvogel, the buttresses are a tapered element, so at the ground level they stick out close to 3 feet. And then as they go up the wall, they taper at not a 45-degree angle, but are angled into the wall. So at the end, or where they terminate into the bond beam, they're probably sticking out 8 to 12 inches. So it's a sizable piece of area for the inside of that barn that's being consumed by this retrofit system. It's a pretty massive system when you see it in place. It's hard to imagine this building could have stood up all these years without it, but it's certainly well engineered, I'll say that.
It may be more like 5 feet, but I don't measure, but it's substantial.
Yeah, certainly at the base, at the ground level, it's 5 feet. What you don't see in the photos is that when the floor is placed in, there's a whole concrete slab that goes over the top of that. So you won't see that base part when the floor is placed in. That'll be an additional 4 to 8 inches of concrete on top of those 5-foot, essentially concrete boxes in the ground. So it's quite a system.
And then I'm assuming you're going to do it in such a way that it blends with the rest of the barn? Not going to just be a piece of concrete, I'm hoping, that it will look like maybe it belonged there originally?
Why would they do that?
Yeah.
It's called a buttress.
Yeah. Actually, we won't do that. Make it appear to be original to the barn. In historic preservation, one of the things that you don't do is try and imitate the original history to create a false sense of history. So I know it's counterintuitive, but with historic restoration, what you do with your design elements is you pick a period either before or after the historic period, and you look for a design element that will be compatible with the original design but non-competitive, that'll be sympathetic to the design but non-imitative to the design. So in this case, it's a rock barn, so it's kind of tough to soften that design element inside there. With the interior panel system, we may be able to conceal those elements and spruce them up a bit so they don't appear so austere.
Do we have a plan B in case the funding doesn't come through for the barn and being able to use it actually as opposed to just...
Boss, do I have a plan B?
Well, wait for more funds. We really don't have any. We don't have money in the general fund for this project, and if we did, we'd probably spend it more on parks in the south part of Glendale.
Yeah.
So we really are relying on this funding. We do have a good working relationship with the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy, which funded this piece of it. Close to $1.5 million. So we'd probably continue working that relationship. And see if we can get more money out of them, since it is a regional draw.
Sure.
But in terms of general fund money, there's no general fund money for it.
How about the money that we didn't use for Maple Park?
No, we don't have any money from Maple Park. We've got...
Or not Maple, but...
Maryland?
Maryland.
That's CDBG money. We can't use it up there.
Yeah. We will be able to continue the programming, as George, Mr. Chapshin, rather, was saying earlier. They're going to maintain all the park naturalist positions, and so that, I guess, Plan B would be, correct me if I'm wrong, boss, but Plan B would be to continue the programming. We are working with the Parks Foundation to try and develop a nursery facility up there, and we would operate out of the existing Park Naturalist House and work on developing the nursery. The Parks Foundation has given us funding for signage and other infrastructure improvements up there, about $7,500, I believe. So we'd continue those activities and to continue to enhance the volunteer and programmatic aspects. We've relocated one of the park naturalists to Pacific Edison to start developing a inner city or urban park naturalist component that would then bring the kids from the southern portion of the city to either Brand Park or the Duke and expand that interaction and keep the activity going, and at some point we'll find funding to then do the construction work. So it'll be a halfway step.
But without external funding, the building wouldn't be occupiable. We couldn't occupy the building or allow anybody inside. So we really do need the money to finish the building, make it accessible.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
6B1D CDBG homeless programs.
Yes.
President Khan, members of the Commission, we wanted to provide you information today regarding 3 items that we are currently working on. The first is the annual proposed fiscal year 11-12 CDBG funding allocation plan by funding category, including proposed program priorities, and subject to the Council's approval of the funding plan and the program priorities, authorization to issue requests for proposals to the community and city departments. We do plan to go to a joint meeting of the City Council and Housing Authority tomorrow to propose the funding allocation plan by funding category, which is one of the attachments to this report in your packet. We've also, well, every year we have to prepare a proposed plan. This year it amounts to $3.8 million. That funding plan is broken out as follows: 20%, which is what HUD allows for planning and program management and oversight and all the monitoring that we do for that program, and that would equal $687,000, which is a $25,000 reduction from the current year. The plan includes $515,000 or 15%, which is what HUD limits us to for social services. That also represents a reduction from the current year. And then it will include $2,608,000 for capital neighborhood improvement projects, including pre-designated projects, which represent the city's priorities. And then $332,000 of the capital improvement funding that will be made available to the community for community projects and improving community centers. We are, based on the community input that we received this year, the advisory committee did identify program priorities, and again, we have them listed in our report beginning with social services. These program priorities are not listed in any particular order, priority, or ranking, and they are consistent with the 5-year plan that's on file with HUD currently. So we have program priorities for social services and capital neighborhood improvements, which will be presented to the City Council and Housing Authority tomorrow. We've also included a brief discussion of what are called HUD-eligible target areas. Commissioner Rothvogel asked earlier if we could use the CDBG funds at the barn. And the reason we cannot is because we can only use CDBG funds for capital improvement projects in low and moderate income neighborhoods. And for the most part, all of the census tracts south of Broadway and in western Glendale, south of Glen Oaks, would be considered low-income census tracts. We're still waiting for information from the 2010 census data. We believe that those census tracts and the eligibility is going to change. We think there will be fewer low-income census tracts in Glendale, and there will be more of a concentration in southern Glendale than we currently have. But that data won't be out for analysis for probably another year and a half, which is very unfortunate because we're still working off of 2000 census data. So we included a brief discussion about that. So again, subject to the City Council and Housing Authority approving our funding plan tomorrow, our program priorities, we will go out and issue RFPs this Friday. The other item we wanted to update you on was the winter shelter program. As you might recall, on September 1st, we gave a report to the City Council and Housing Authority regarding this year's winter shelter program. The Housing Authority and City Council passed a motion to support the program at the National Guard Armory. It's a regional program funded and administered by the LA City, LA County Joint Powers Agreement. So we really don't have a lot of control over it, but it's important for the City Council to express whether it supports the program or not. The Council decided to support the program and continue to work with the Joint Powers Agreement. They're called LASA, the Los Angeles Services Homeless Authority. However, the Council and the Housing Authority did give staff direction to work with LASA on developing a local program that would not be the regional program for next year. There would be a 50-bed shelter that would have to be funded by locally by City of Glendale or other funding sources, and include a partnership with Burbank, so that Glendale and Burbank could address both communities' homeless problems. So that is our challenge, and that's our charge for next year's winter shelter program. The winter shelter program will begin December 1st. So beginning December 1st, it'll be open. It'll be open continuously until March 15th at the Armory. During the winter season, we do have bi-weekly winter shelter committee meetings comprised of several city departments and the operator and a representative from Burbank and LASA, so that jointly we can oversee the management of the program and try to address any issues or negative impacts that it has on Glendale throughout the year. And then the last item we wanted to inform you about is we gave a report to the City Council and the Housing Authority on November 2nd to approve our 2010 Continuum of Care, which is our homeless program. It's our annual $2.5 million funding application to HUD, and it is comprised of 13 different projects working with local service providers to provide homeless services in our community. And so that was approved on November 2nd, and we're submitting the application at the end of this week, and that's a major undertaking. And I think Yvette handed out information on the Homeless Connect Day. As I think we mentioned last time, we are inviting board and commissioners to volunteer to participate in Homeless Connect Day. We can use your help to serve as escorts in helping taking families from station to station, helping to interpret the services that are being provided. It's a very gratifying experience if you have time to, out of your busy days, to come and volunteer and meet a lot of service providers and a lot of the homeless families that we're trying to assist. That's it.
That's okay. I do want to mention something as it relates to homeless and Path Achieve Glendale. We had a Board of Directors meeting, our annual meeting, and both Mr. Duran and Mr. Chapchian came to our meeting, and it was extremely helpful to have them there based on just a variety of things. But the information and the technology and the know-how that you guys have is really, really beneficial to us. So I wanted to publicly thank you for coming to that function and spending the day with us. Thank you. Anything else? So is there written communications?
No, we don't have any.
So this will be our last meeting of the year till January.
And don't forget, we do have the Rose Float Association reception December 28th. We'll send you the invitation, so there may be a chance for you to see each other there as well.
Gives us an opportunity to see each other. Is that what you mean? Thank you.
Aren't you excited?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Anyways, happy holidays, because we won't see each other. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. That's absolutely true.
Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll adjourn on that note. Thank you very much.